All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is happening, Shipping Nation? It is your boy Belman 967 here to break down another NBA slate on DraftKings. Today it is Saturday, November 29th. We've got a 5-game main slate that starts at 7:30 Eastern. Hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving, is enjoying the holidays, is playing some DFS. We have a bunch of teams on back-to-backs tonight. So know that a lot of the info on this video will change throughout the day just because guys being in and out, but as always, want to get something out to you guys early in the day. So again, just know that the later you watch this, the more stuff will change on the show. Without further ado, let me screen share this and we will dive right in. Instead of the 4 games, we got 5 games tonight, but should be a pretty easy one to break down. All right, starting off, we have a really good game from a DFS perspective. We've got Chicago heading to Indiana to face the Pacers. Both teams played last night. After a really, really hot start to the season, the Bulls have faded fast. The Pacers never started fast at all, have just faded. So 2 not great teams, 3.5-point spread. The Bulls are favored here, high total. So there should be a bunch of pieces that we like on DraftKings tonight. Not sure there's that much that we like from the Chicago side, however. Giddy is priced up 9,800. He was pretty good last night, but other guys were better, so ultimately wasn't a guy you needed. He doesn't project amazing at 9,800, only 41, 42 DraftKings points, but certainly has the high ceiling, triple-double upside every time he steps on the court. So, as always, he's going to be the top piece of Chicago, but I don't think he's a priority on this slate, and no one on the Bulls right now is projected to be that highly owned. Obviously, again, have to reiterate multiple times that things will change here. Kobe White, I still think I like Kobe White slightly more than Giddy at a $2K cheaper price tag. Now, both of these guys are a little bit more expensive than they were yesterday. I think they got $100 or $200 increases, but either way, both wildly in play. Kind of the same story with White as Giddy. Doesn't project amazing at 7,700, but has upside at this tag. We'll see on the back-to-back what they do with him. Other than that, like Vooch, sure. He probably projects the best out of those 3, but I'm not excited about using a center spot on him tonight or ever, really. I think you can probably look at some secondary and tertiary guys if we end up having more guys out for the Bulls. But as of now, just not a team I'm like that excited about rostering when there are some really good spots on the board. So one of those spots is going to be the Indiana side facing this Chicago team. I think right off the bat, TJ McConnell, again, still only 4,500, projects as, the top value play on the slate. He'll be really, really popular and for good reason. I don't think there's much reason to get away from him other than ownership if that's the game you want to play. Jay Huff, still only 4K, power forward eligible, started last night. I think those 2 guys look like 2 of the top, if not the 2 top plays on the slate. Ownership is there, so you're not sneaking up on anyone with those 2 guys. But NBA DFS is such a projection/pricing game that I think you're making a mistake if you just go into this slate wanting to fade those guys. Benedict Mathurin would be the 3rd piece. He's getting ownership for good reason. Still priced fairly. I think he's probably more like a $7,500 player in this current role that he has, especially with the Pacers just not being good. Projects okay, 33 and some change DraftKings points, but obviously a big ceiling at 6,900. Jarris Walker projecting well, starting 4,200. I think he could very likely be one of the most popular players on the slate with Huff and with McConnell. We'll have to wait and see on Nembhard. Missed last night. If he's out again, you just get a bump to all these other guys, McConnell included. Even if Nembhard's in, we're playing McConnell, but if he's out, it's really, really tough to get away from him. Ben Shepherd played well last night. Don't really want to go back to him here, but it's a good spot. He's got good positional eligibility, so I don't hate it. JRE, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, was good last night. For me, I think it's those main three, McConnell, Huff, and Mathurin. More could appear, though. And again, both these teams played last night, so things could certainly change as far as who's in or who's out. You just never know with the NBA. Guys that weren't on the injury report yesterday, that didn't get hurt yesterday, just could randomly show up. It happens all the time. So just be aware and know that, again, things will likely change. But as of now, the three priorities for me from this game are going to be Mathurin, McConnell, and Huff, and then certainly Siakam also. Good game for him last night. Price is stabilizing a little bit under 9K. He projects well here, so he's going to get ownership. I like the other three better, especially at cheaper tags, but I don't think you can go wrong with getting a bunch of Indiana here. All right, moving on. We have Detroit at Miami. So we know how fast of a pace Miami plays at now, which is weird considering how they played for many years prior to this season, but it is what it is now. So high total for Detroit here. They played last night. Miami did not. So they played a tough game against Orlando, lost in the last minute. I think from the Detroit side, Cade, who was phenomenal, had 75 plus fantasy points, was absolutely needed to take down any tournaments last night. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's probably the guy that you're looking at if you're looking at anyone from Detroit. I think that there are players in play from Detroit, but no one that stands out as a must play, Cade being one of them. He looks good. Obviously, you're allocating a lot of funds to get to him at 10-3, but showed it last night. His ceiling is sky high anytime he steps on the court. Certainly that is the case here. Asar Thompson still with a really nice $5,500 tag. Tobias Harris, $5,300. I think you can look at some secondary Detroit pieces here just because of the spot they're in. Again, we'll see who's out for them on the back-to-back if they have any shenanigans going on, which would make whoever's in even more appealing. I think it's Thompson, Harris, obviously the big guns, Cade, and then Duren is certainly in play. But, as far as priorities go, if I were making a core right now of 5 guys on the slate, I don't think anyone from Detroit would be in my core. I think the closest, maybe Duren. I like that tag. I like the spot. But again, you're using up a center spot on him. So I don't think there's that much of a difference between Duren, Asar, Tobias, and Cade all at their price tags. I think the better way to put it is I think they're all priced fairly. So I could see getting to any of them. I could see getting to multiple of them. I could also see not playing any of them in any given lineup. I do like the Detroit side more than the Miami side. Hero back in the mix now. I like Hero's price tag, 8K, certainly with a 50-point ceiling has upside at that tag. I don't think he's like some supreme value, and I doubt he gets a ton of ownership, but I think would he be my favorite piece? It's close between him, Bam, Norman Powell, even. Let me see what I think about Hero real quick. Yeah, I think actually, I think Hero would be my favorite piece. Not projected to get, much ownership, and I don't think that's going to change regardless of what pans out on this slate. Usual suspects, Bam, 7,500 is a good tag for Bam. So I could get on board with Bam. Norm Powell, I think he's a tournament boom bust guy. I like Hero and Bam more. Probably like Wiggins more than Powell, who we have as projecting better. So yeah, I think for me, the order would go Hero, Bam, Wiggins, Powell. And then I think you can throw Kelly Ware in the mix too. Certainly has showed upside a bunch recently. And when he gets there, it seems like he gets there in a big way. So yeah, all in all, I think this game is not like overly appealing from a DFS perspective, but it's pretty appealing. And I think that getting overexposed to this game isn't a bad route to take in tournaments. I also don't think there's anyone in this game that's like a must play. So do with that info what you will. All right, Brooklyn and Milwaukee, both teams played last night. So again, another spot where you might see some weirdness, certainly from the Milwaukee side. We're not projecting Giannis in, which makes sense after missing like 2 weeks with a groin injury. Starting with the Brooklyn side, right now we have MPJ in. Obviously, things are going to change a lot if he's out. We saw this play out last night with him out. Yegor Yemen with a monster game after a bad first run. I played him in one of my 888 lineups, and that lineup ended up cashing. A big part was because of him. He was just monstrous last night. So if MPJ's out, even if MPJ is in, I think you can go right back to him. Obviously playing with a little confidence, good matchup against Milwaukee. Terrence Mann was really, really good last night. Claxton was disappointing. Clowney was okay. The guards got there. Doesn't mean they're going to get there tonight, but I think this is probably the biggest wait and see approach game on the slate just because of MPJ and what he does in and out of this offense. Again, I think we're going to want exposure to Brooklyn. It's just a matter of where it comes from, and who's in or who's out. From the Milwaukee side, Kuzma's projecting well, and I think he gets ownership. Never excited about it. He did me so dirty when I played him last time after he had won Maslow all the money on a couple slates before that when he nutted for like 65 fantasy points. But I digress. Again, risky play as always, but at 5,900 with Giannis out in this spot, I think he's certainly in play. Bobby Portis, no longer the smash Bobby Portis when Giannis is in type of play that he used to be, but at 6,300, maybe they start him doubtful, but if they do, I think we'd want to play him. Even if they don't, I think he's got tournament appeal. Cole Anthony, interesting. Ryan Rollins would be the main piece. I think he's going to get some ownership, and that $8,500 tag certainly gives you some sticker shock, but with Giannis out, probably a fair tag for him. And in this spot, he's got upside. So yeah, Milwaukee's an 11.5 point favorite here with Giannis not expected to play. So that kind of tells you all you need to know about this Brooklyn squad. That said, I do think the talent on these teams when Giannis is out is closer than this spread implies. So I could see this game playing out, again, closer than the 11.5 point spread indicates, but we'll have to wait and see who's confirmed in or out as we get closer to lock. All right, second to last, heading into a couple West Coast spots. We've got New Orleans at Golden State. I don't think either of these teams played last night. I know Golden State didn't. So this might be the one outlier spot where we have both teams rested. Yeah, both teams rested here. Not like the greatest game from a DFS perspective. We're seeing some shenanigans with how they're treating Queen right now. Have started Yves Missy over him in the second half, I think, in back-to-back games. So it certainly gives you cause for pause when his price tag is increasing. All that said, Queen has upside still, even at 6,600. So tournaments, I think he's worth at least looking at, but probably not someone I'm going to prioritize, let alone play. I think the main guy here that you're looking at from New Orleans has just been phenomenal lately, and I've played him, I think, each of the past 3 games is Sadiq Bey. This is a guy with talent, certainly playing over his head right now, and you don't expect the 40, 45 fantasy point games to continue, but he's 5,500. Fills a weak small forward position. I think you can easily go right back to Sadiq Bey here. I would call him like a cog in the machine type, just a solid filler piece. You're not going out of your way to play him, but I think he looks pretty good here. After that, from New Orleans, not much I'm excited about getting to. From the Golden State side, obviously we've got no Curry. So, it makes the other Warriors in play. Butler's tag is up there. I'd be excited about playing him if he were 8K, but 8,800 doesn't project amazing. I still think that he's the top piece just because of his upside, but tags are up here with Curry out. Draymond, I always prefer him when Curry's in. It's a good matchup against New Orleans. I don't know. I like the Indiana spot more. And again, stuff's going to change on this slate, so we're not exactly sure as of right now who the overall best plays are going to be. But there doesn't look like anything from Golden State that I'm going to be going out of my way to get to. I guess Draymond would be the top points per dollar play, but, certainly not a must on this slate at all. If you can get to Butler, I do like Butler here. Kind of in the hero vein, where I don't think they project great for their tags, but I think there's upside here, and they're just not going to get ownership. So kind of how I see that one. Last but not least, we have Denver and Phoenix. Both teams played last night. So Big wait and see approach here. Both teams played late last night. Both teams play on the latest game of the slate tonight. So again, just wait and see here. From the Denver side, we know they're shorthanded. No Christian Brown, no Aaron Gordon. So we've seen Peyton Watson take a massive step up. Cameron Johnson now priced under Peyton Watson. I think he probably looks like the best play on this slate. We have him projected as, I think, the top points per dollar play overall on the board right now. So Cam Johnson, 5,300 on DK looks really, really good. Certainly, not to bury the lead. Jokic, he's expensive. I mean, 13-4, you're allocating a ton of funds to get to him. But if we get enough value, NBA DFS is, again, such a salary and projection-based game that it could easily make sense to get to Jokic, especially with all these back-to-backs. Might have guys out, more value emerge. Ultimately, he might become easier to get to. That said, I struggle to see him becoming like a lock at this tag. He's just that expensive, knowing he's got upside on every single slate he's on to break it. Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway, I think interesting tournament plays, but certainly not guys I'm like going out of my way to roster. Jamal Murray would be the other guy I like here. His tag is up though, so 8,600. I like the idea of him and Book going back and forth a little bit, but I don't think you're like playing him because he projects amazing at 8,600. I think you're, again, playing into that upside. And certainly maybe if you're playing him instead of Jokic, we see it multiple times a season where he's the one that goes nuts. Certainly it's usually going to be Jokic, but Murray's good enough where if he gets hot, he could have monster games by himself. From the Phoenix side, Booker was a disappointment the other night. Phoenix just won too easily. I like the cut of this Phoenix team's gym. They just a much different team now with KD gone. They've filled in the pieces around Booker. I don't think they're going to win a championship like anything else, but I like the way this team plays. It starts with Booker for me, 9,400. Yeah, projects for 46 fantasy points. Like, not amazing, but his ceiling is up there, and he's another one of these guys that if his three-point shot is falling, he can, break any slate he's on or be a guy that's needed to win in tournaments. So I like Book here quite a bit. After him, I don't think we have like the ultimate, let me see one thing real quick. Well, I guess, we're with Mark Williams out. Nick Richards looks okay. I mean, he's 3,400, doesn't project amazing. I think we're kind of just filling in the pieces around him. Gillespie and Goodwin, their tags are up. Don't hate them, but don't love them either. Probably at this point would rather get to Brooks and Royce O'Neal, who's the cheapest out of all of them. I think he'd be my favorite of the secondary Phoenix pieces is Royce O'Neal, but I mean, it's still Royce O'Neal at the end of the day. So if I end up with nothing or just Booker from Phoenix, I'll probably be happy. But don't think Richards is crazy on a slate without a ton of value, at least right now. Maybe we don't get that value we're expecting. So again, just pay attention. Lock starts a half hour later tonight, so know that going in. Get back on to this. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, feedback, again, is much appreciated. Fun slate tonight, and usually we don't have it with all these teams on back-to-back. So just, play it accordingly. And again, I will reiterate for the 15th time that stuff will change from this video. So the later you watch it, the more things will change. That said, I hope, again, everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Everyone is having a great holiday weekend. Spend some time with your family. And of course, let's ship it.